Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So part of the old tractors and things, I think should include how you work on some of them. I've had a fair amount of old John Deere 2-cylinders, worked on quite a bit more. I'm not a professional by any means, and it seems like some of the John Deere guys will be the first ones to, get out their torches and pitchforks and tell you how you're doing things wrong, but I'll just show you how I do it and some of the things to watch out for. So we'll start here. I've got a couple magnetos that I picked up actually from the scrap guy at an auction. There's a whole bunch of auctions. Could possibly even be in a video prior to this or maybe after. It just depends on when I get it edited. But yeah, a whole bunch of old John Deere tractors, some of them in really bad shape. So when we went to pick up some of our purchases, the scrap guy was there marking his stuff, and I asked him if he would sell parts, and he said he would. So I went around and I picked up a couple mags and a carburetor. So I'll show you what I got. So these are Wico X's, and they look the same, but they're different. So as a general rule, your styled John Deere tractors, at least A's and B's, use what they call a short lug coupler. And all that is how long these lugs are on the impulse coupler. Your unstyled tractors use a long lug. So you got to kind of watch out for that. If you try to put a long lug in a short lug governor, you'll probably break the ear off of it. That's not cool. So something to watch out for. They are interchangeable. So if you have one and need the other, all you have to do is take this nut off and you can switch them. These are Wico X's. I prefer the X's myself over the C's, the Wico C's. They're the ones that have like two caps. One smaller that sticks off the back. And that's just preference. Although it always seems like to me that the X's are a hotter mag than the C's, but that might just be me. Another reason I like the X's is because they just have the one cap. It seems like all the C's I've ever worked on, one or the other of the caps are broke. Oh, and one big thing with the C's that I don't like is where the coil comes out, there's actually a short little coil wire. It's external, where the X's are internal. That short little wire sticks straight up. So you get all kinds of water and stuff down in that, follows the wire down in the cap. And we've had some problems with that too. But anyway, we'll pull one of these apart. I've had really good luck with X's. Open them up, clean them up a little bit, and they usually work. So we'll see if I have any luck with this one. I'll get you set up. So first we'll just take the 4 screws out of this cap. Another thing to watch out for on these, if you're putting one back together, there's a little hole right here. And that's just to let moisture, let the mag breathe a little bit. And just like this one, some kind of little bug has got in there and plugged that hole up with dirt. So you always want to clean that out. And these caps, as long as they're not broke and they're not severely corroded on the inside, I'll run them. Even if they're chalky like this, you can flip it over on the inside and I'll show you, but they usually look pretty nice on the inside. Hope that's not too loud. Okay, there we go. See, they don't look too bad on the inside. I usually take a little sandpaper and clean up the 2 posts in there. And always check your spring. I've seen some that the spring is gone. But this is where the C has that coil wire or the X is internal. It goes from the spring down to the rotor with that. So I prefer this design myself. So this one doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of, you know, fuzzy corrosion on the condenser there. But yeah, I'll clean that up. That button right there, clean it up with some sandpaper. I'll clean the points with some sandpaper, and then I'll see if I can find a screw that'll go in there and just run a little wire over. You don't have to have the cap on these to test them out. Just take a ground over to this button and it'll fire here. So let's see if we get lucky and we can just clean the points. There's another thing to watch for in these, and this one is broke. There's a little spring. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little spring inside this rotor that keeps it tight on the end of the shaft, and this one of the fingers in it is broken. Not a huge deal. Yeah, that one's fairly tight, so I might run it. I might see if I have another one. But yeah, I'll usually sand the ends of these two, just to make sure that everything's got a nice clean place to jump there. It says right down here in the bottom, set points to 15 thousandths, and that's 0.015. Usually use feeler gauges. This little piece of cloth right here, felt, whatever, that should be touching. Yeah, if you turn it there, it just barely does. That's a wick. You put a little bit of oil on that, and that lubricates the arm on your points. See, this one's a little crusty, but something else that I've always heard, I don't know if there's any factual evidence or not, but they say you never want to fire a mag with no place for it to jump. I don't know if there's anything to it, but I've tried to go by it. That way it doesn't jump somewhere else. Anyway, take our sandpaper here, and you don't need like 60 grit or anything, you know, rocks glued to a piece of sandpaper. This is 320. This is usually what I use for this. We gotta open up our points a little bit and get this slipped in there. So that's pretty tight. I'm gonna have to hold it open just a little bit. On some of these that are really nasty, sometimes you gotta do it a couple times. As often as I do this, I should probably just have a set of points on hand and switch them out, but things go in spurts around here. I may not work on a mag for 6 months, and then I might turn around and work on 3 of them. And the old dollar bill trick, you know, everybody says to take a dollar bill and run through the points. Oh wow, you can see the corrosion there that came off of those points. The dollar bill trick, I've not had good luck with that. I don't know if my dollar bills were just dirty or what, but wow, those are nasty. I've had a lot better luck with just plain clean white paper, and all that really does is kind of wipe everything out from between the points. Try this again. They make little tiny files, points files, that you can use on these. And it's not a bad idea because with the file, you can make the faces parallel to each other. You know, and if they have a big crater in them, then that kind of remedies that. Alright. Yeah, we got another bunch more junk out of there. Look. Yeah, not terrible. I think I'll clean them. Clean those two contacts with a piece of paper, pull through there, and yeah, I need to find something here, but we'll give it a try. And I've had good luck. That's usually all I have to do. I've never had a coil bad in an X. It looks like the gap in our points is plenty wide. I'll close that up a little bit. I suppose since I'm showing you how to do it, I should maybe do it right and get out a set of feeler gauges. And for this to be accurate, I should probably sand the rust off the lobe there. That way, you know, the gap doesn't change after we, after it runs a little bit or after we clean it. So I'll go ahead and do that. And you see the points, they don't even touch the side of it. It's really just the top. I know a lot of people that I've talked to, it's like they're scared of magnetos, but they're very simple. You know, it just uses a magnetic field that's stored in a magnet in the magneto itself, and you know, the rest of it is basically timing. You know, the points close, it charges the coil, and when it opens, they fire. And you know, magnetos are kind of like carburetors. You just want to get them as clean as you can. Should be in pretty good shape. Now you can go all out if you have the time and want to mess with it. You can disassemble these and bead blast the cases and all that stuff, which is fine. I've done that from time to time. But really, as long as you have everything decent. It's got some pitting in that one. And a lot of this stuff is relative, you know, like there's a little bit of pitting in that lobe. Okay, is that not going to let it work? No, it'll still work. You know, and as few hours as a lot of these tractors run, that would never wear out in somebody's lifetime. It's not like you're taking it to the field every day, you know, and making a living with it and that kind of stuff. Especially if you put a little bit of grease on there or oil, you know, that would last a long, long time. So I'll get a piece of paper. We'll clean those contacts, and I'll see if I can find something here to jump to. Could clean that up right quick. You don't want to go crazy here because that's just a lead button. I have built some of these up before. They get extremely pitted or whatever. I have built them up with solder, but you have to be very, very careful that you don't heat the insulation up on your coil. Alright. You guys still awake? I haven't bored you too much. Okay. So we got our clean piece of paper, and we have a piece of pretty heavy stranded wire here that's Probably not suited for this, but we're gonna make it work anyway. Again, all this stuff is for myself. I have rebuilt carburetors and magnetos and stuff for other people, and you know, I take more time on those because you know, I don't want them to have any trouble with it. If it's my own and it needs something, not a big deal to me anyway. But if I rebuild something for somebody else, you know. Okay. We don't want a huge gap here. That's probably about 1/8 of an inch. I'm hoping you guys can see that when it works, if it works. Alright, let's run our paper through here. And you can kind of see it left a mark on there, gray mark, so it's you can also check these with an ohm meter to tell whether you're getting continuity through there. But if you do, you'll have to unhook your wire because it'll show a you know, continuity to a ground, you know, or a closed circuit, I guess I should say. Okay, we'll give that a try. And to check them, I usually put a 3/4 socket, and it's got to be thin walled, but put a 3/4 socket on a drill, and then I usually hold these, was it like this? Yeah. Hold it like that so the impulse doesn't catch. Have to be sure to turn it the right way too. This one's counterclockwise. Come on. There we go. Oh yeah. No, it's firing just by hand there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let's see if I can get you closer here. There, I saw it. Maybe I could turn off the light and that might help. Yeah. You know, nice spark there. That's definitely good enough to run. And that's exactly why I like these Wico X mags. They're super simple, super reliable. You can still get all the parts for them. They're not oddball or anything like that. So, something else to check on these, and I didn't even close up the gap in the points like I said. So that should get hotter when I set those. But one thing to watch on these, and I've seen a lot of these this way, this nut will get loose. And when you tighten the nut up, the impulse doesn't work anymore, everything's stuck. Well, that's because they've run it loose so long. This is a shouldered nut. And it has, so the width of the shoulder is a certain dimension to allow clearance for your drive lug here. Well, they've run it so long that it wore the end off of this nut. So when you tighten it down, it's shorter than the width of your drive coupler. So at one time I had made a bunch of shims, little shims that would fit over this and space that nut back up where it's supposed to be. That way the impulse would work like it should. So that's something to check on these. I see somebody's been in here. Speaking of things to check, and I'll have to look up some paperwork. I see where somebody has made Turn on my screen here so I can see. If you can see, somebody has made a scratch mark right there. There's another one right over here. And what this is, this ring in here has the catch for the impulse. So this sets your impulse timing. And I'd have to check. This one is maxed all the way out. It's actually past the last mark. So that needs to be changed. But I'll have to get out my paperwork. I can't remember if you can see in there. There's little marks right across here, and there's a notch in that ring down in there that would line up accordingly. And I don't think they're centered to start with. They're supposed to be one way or the other, so I'll need to check that. Sometimes guys will change that because they don't have the mag timed right, and when they go to start it, it'll be too advanced and it'll kick. So they change the timing here, and that's not, I guess I shouldn't say that's wrong. That's not normal. In some applications I have done that myself, but yeah, I'll set it back the way it's supposed to be, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'll gap those points like they're supposed to be. 15 thousandths. I don't know that I need to show you guys that. There's probably 10 bazillion videos on how to work on these here on YouTube. I guess to give a little bit of context here, this mag works, so that's all I need at the moment. I have a tractor that I'm going to put this on. I know very little about the tractor, so I don't want to invest too much time or money, either one, into this tractor until I know that it's going to run or find out what's wrong with it. So some of this stuff I will go back through and I'll fix it, but you know, and that way I have an idea what it needs. I'll already know that it needs a set of points. It'll need a gasket and it'll need a rotor. But this is definitely good enough to run for a little bit, you know. There's another thing too, as well as the cap, the magneto itself has a hole in the bottom to let the mag breathe and let moisture out. So you want to make sure that's open, as well as the one in the bottom of the cap here. You can see, you know, some kind of bug, and that little, I don't know if you can see it, that little passage comes out right here. So you probably have to take a piece of wire or a pick, you know, and blow it out with the air hose. But yeah, there's all kinds of nasty junk coming out of there. But yeah, open those up. I'll take some sandpaper and I'll sand these contacts here before I put it back together. But yeah, that's a quick rundown. You get the gist of it. Wico X for a 2-cylinder John Deere. The X's were used on a lot of other things, 4 cylinders and such, but this is the John Deere application, I guess. So okay, I kind of keep forgetting, you know, that, you know, people want to see some of this stuff, so I'm working on it. Sorry. So I went ahead, I gapped the points like they're supposed to be. I put a little dab of grease on that cam in there, and you just need a dab. You don't need, you know, don't put 3 pumps in there with your grease gun. You basically just need something there. So I'll turn off the light here, and I'll run it with my drill and let you see the spark in there. This one turned out nice. It's a nice hot mag. come around here so maybe I can. You can see how the spark changed with gapping the points, and that gap, that's a good 3/16. That mag would hurt you. But again, that's why I really like the X's. They're a great mag. So there you go. Thanks again. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to keep up on that and get back with you. Hey, thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you learned something. Check out my other videos. I'm trying to get, you know, in the groove of editing a little more often. Right now, this is all on the side, so going to auctions and that kind of stuff is, you know, just fit in wherever I can. If you like watching this kind of stuff, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe if you would. That really helps me. You know, all the statistics with YouTube and that kind of stuff. Leave a comment too. That actually factors into YouTube's algorithms and all that stuff. So if you like what you see, do me a favor and do all that stuff. It doesn't cost anything. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.